Let's go, girls. Welcome to Talk Wealthy to Me. I'm Michelle Taylor, founder of Women in Wealth. From breaking money myths to building wealth and achieving financial freedom, we're here to empower you to create your own path. Talk Wealthy. Now, join the conversation and let's change the way women think and feel about money. Okay, ready? Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Talk Wealthy to Me. I'm Michelle Taylor, your host, and today I want to talk to you about something that I know I personally relate to so much, and that's how do you build wealth if you didn't grow up with it? And I know for me personally, no one showed me what to do. I had to figure it out as I went. So if that sounds like you, just know you're not behind. You're pioneering. And being the first wealthy woman in your family doesn't just come with new opportunities. It comes with emotions, baggage, old beliefs, pressure, guilt, and a whole lot of figuring it out as you go. But we are here for it. So if you've ever felt like you're carrying the weight of becoming the one who changes everything, not only for yourself, but your family, your future generations, the people around you, this episode, my friend, is for you. I want to give you both the emotional support and the practical roadmap to build wealth confidently, even if you didn't grow up with it. All right, so how do we do that? Well, let's talk about something that most financial experts skip: the emotional reality of being first-generation wealth. And that is a heavy burden for any of us to try and figure out. First-gen wealth looks like pride on the outside, sure, but it sure does feel heavy on the inside. There's guilt that you have more than your parents ever did, guilt that you can say yes to things that they couldn't, guilt that your life is different. And that is 1000% imposter syndrome. That voice that whispers, who am I to have this? Or am I doing this right? Or what if I lose everything? There's fear of losing it, especially because you didn't grow up seeing money managed well. You hold on to it tighter. You don't make the right decisions with it, or I should say the best decisions with it, because of that fear. When you don't have generational models, wealth can feel fragile and temporary. And then there's the pressure to support family members, pressure to give back, pressure to create an impact, pressure to be the safety net, pressure to make every financial decision perfectly because you don't want to mess up the opportunity your parents never had. I feel that so much. So I know that others are feeling it too. I once worked with a woman who told me, Michelle, I feel like I'm building a house and holding it up at the same time. And if that just hit you the way it hit me the first time I heard it, I understand. And that is exactly what first-gen wealth feels like. It is feeling like you're building stability while carrying responsibility. And here's the truth. You are not behind. You're breaking cycles, and that is sacred work. There is such joy in being able to make an impact for the people that you love. I tell people all the time, I feel like Women in Wealth and the journey of this for me allowed me to be the woman I wish that I had had in my life. And as beautiful as that sounds and feels, and it does, it also comes with an immense amount of responsibility of not wanting to let the people around me down, but also that 17-year-old, 20-year-old version of myself down. All right. So with that comes what we weren't taught. And of course, there's a lot. We're always learning. So I know I give everyone around me grace because we're just figuring it out. And it doesn't matter how much money you have or if you had generational wealth, even those people didn't have it figured out. Most women didn't grow up with a financial education, and especially not first-generation wealth builders. You probably weren't taught how investing works, how tax planning works, how to use credit wisely, and how important it is. how to protect your assets so that if something happens, you aren't thrown off course, how to choose the right insurance, how to build generational wealth, how to think long term, how to keep the money that you're building within your family for future generations. Maybe you were taught things like save every penny, don't take unnecessary risk. A stable job is everything. Why would you want to go out on your own and start a business where the responsibility is double and the uncertainty is triple? Debt is bad. Investing is for rich people. These messages weren't meant to harm you, friends. They were meant to keep you safe. And there is, truth to that. But because your parents and grandparents lived in survival mode, it was different. The lessons never changed to meet us where we are at now. They didn't have the luxury of thinking about legacy. My goodness, grandparents of ours were living through the Great Depression. And imagine what that did to them from a financial approach. It was terrifying. Then they taught that to their children. So keep that in mind, that it's coming from a place of survival and safety and love, but we don't have to carry it forward if it doesn't serve us. All I know, at least in my case, those generations, they were focused on stability. Keep everyone together. Keep the train moving. The other stuff is all the fluff. But to build wealth, you need information that they were never given, and that's okay because they never gave it to us. But we're here to change that. You're learning what they never had access to, and you're doing it with courage. And the best part about that is you're going to be able to do it for future generations. Your childhood money scripts are also a huge part of growing money if this is the first time you've ever been faced with some of these big decisions. We need to dig deeper into the money beliefs that we've all inherited because, trust me, they show up in your financial decisions. You may have grown up with a mother whose script was, we need just enough to get by. That shows up today as under-earning, under-advocating for yourself, over-saving, over-giving, or being scared to spend on yourself. I cannot tell you the number one thing that women deal with, at least the ones that I'm encountering. They're sitting on way too much cash because they are scared of losing it. You may have grown up with a father whose script was success requires hustle, pressure, sacrifice. And I get it as an entrepreneur and as somebody whose father was an entrepreneur. Hustle is important and grit and everything that comes with that. But what it can show up as overworking, burnout, tying your worth to your productivity or your top line revenue, or feeling unsafe unless you're always doing something. There is no joy in rest if you feel the only way to move forward in life is being productive. You may have grown up hearing things like money is stressful, money is complicated, people with money change, don't talk about money. And those beliefs, those shape how you invest, how you save, how you spend, how you talk about money with your friends, with your spouse, around your kids, how you show up to annual reviews or meetings to hopefully get equity partners within a business or exit a business. All of those stories are built in our DNA. And unless we decide which ones we want to keep telling, we're going to keep repeating the same history. But here's the good news. Money scripts are learned, which also means they can be unlearned. You can rewrite your beliefs. You can create new patterns. You can become the blueprint for the generation that's following you. One of my clients once said something powerful. I'm breaking generational patterns with tools my parents never had. And that can be you too. Now, let's talk about the practical side of becoming first-gen wealthy, learning money later in life. Many women don't learn about wealth until their 20s, 30s, 40s, and even sometimes 50s. And I can't tell you how many times I hear, I feel so far behind. I don't know about you guys, but growing up and going through school, I remember thinking, "Oh, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to be married and have kids, and we're going to be shopping for our forever home. And by the time I'm 30, I'll be a millionaire." And that is so unrealistic. Most people don't ever become millionaires statistically until their very late 40s or early 50s. And sure, there's exceptions to that, but we are setting ourselves up to feel disappointment in not accomplishing these big life and financial milestones way early on in life when it's just going to be the exception and not the rule. So remember that you're not behind. This means you're human. I learned this deeply in my own story, rebuilding from debt, navigating economic uncertainty, trying to launch my first business, importing goods from Europe in the worst time possible during the recession. The dollar wasn't worth anything. And a year's worth of work, spending time living in another country, coming home was disappointing. Pivoting was critical. Uncertainty and making mistakes, well, that's just part of it. The part that we need to remember is learning from them and deciding, at least with me, that my story didn't end where it was just getting started. I've met women who learned to invest at 15, at 25, 35, 45, 55, even 62. Women that are faced with either the death of a spouse or a divorce and saying, holy cow, I've got to do this on my own, and pulling themselves up by their bootstraps to do it. It's never too late. And guess what? They all built wealth, every single one of them. The moment you start intentionally learning how money works, not just how to earn it, but how to keep it, grow it, protect it, and make sure that it's working for you even while you're sleeping, well, that's when your life begins to shift. Wealth is not reserved for who starts first. It's reserved for those who stay consistent. So let's wrap this up with practical, clear steps that you can start today to build your wealth, even if no one taught you how. First, build a strong financial foundation. I know you guys hear me say this all the time, but it bears repeating every single time I can. Build your emergency fund, your healthy credit. That is a non-negotiable, and have those conversations with the young people that are listening to you for advice. Have a basic understanding of your cash flow. Understand how much you truly need in savings. This is the base layer of wealth, the foundation of the big story that you're building. Number 2, choose 1 or 2 investment vehicles. You don't need to invest in everything. Just start. Whether that's a Roth IRA, a brokerage account, or a 401k, choose 1 or 2 and commit to that. Perfect it, or at least try to, and then keep adding, but start. Number 3, build your wealth circle. Ladies, you cannot build wealth alone. You need community, education, mentorship, support, conversations with women who have done it or are doing it. I can't tell you the times that I've seen light bulbs flip the switch in the middle of a conversation, and it always excites me because I know that in that moment, a woman is potentially changing the trajectory of her financial landscape, not only for herself, but for her family. One simple takeaway, question, observation, those things matter. And we have to be having the conversations for those light bulbs to come on. Protect your assets early. This means insurance, legal documents, smart tax planning. I know it's the boring stuff, and I hope it's the most thankless thing you do for building your wealth. But for the exception of people that really need it, it will be the best thing that you ever do. Protect what you're building before you grow it, while you're growing it, and after you've grown it. You don't want to have to build wealth multiple times. Let's build it once and make sure you never lose it because of something silly. Reframe your identity. You are not new money. You are in your first chapter of your family's financial legacy. And how exciting is that? Your future children and grandchildren, or nieces, or fur babies, all of those people will grow up or live with confidence around money because of the work that you're doing now. That is powerful. That is generational change. And that is impact. And that's when the magic around building wealth truly becomes amazing. So remember, you're not behind. You're building the blueprint for your family that you probably never had. I know I didn't. And the more you understand wealth, emotionally and practically, the more empowered and confident you become. You're not just building wealth for yourself, you're breaking generational cycles and creating new ones. If this sounds like something that you know you need to work through, that you're doing but need a little bit more support, I know where you can find it. As always, the Women in Wealth community is built just for this purpose. Changing the narrative, changing the conversation. This is where we're teaching step by step how to keep more of what you earn, building your wealthy woman life with clarity and confidence so that you don't have to do it alone. I would love to hear from any of you. Some wins, stories, exciting things that you may be doing from this episode or prior episodes that make you feel like you're moving the needle and giving yourself that glow up that we're all looking for on building generational wealth. Send me a message, a DM. I'd love to share it with others because those are the conversations that matter. As always, thank you so much for spending your time with me today, and let's continue to change the way women think and feel about money together.